That's right. I don't have to get too close. Just making sure everybody's ready to go. Can you guys let me know when we're ready to go live? Thank you. So. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Today is Tuesday, June 25th, 2024, and this is the regular governing board meeting for the Litchfield Elementary School District Governing Board. I hereby call this meeting to order. The first item on the agenda is going to be we need to convene into public hearing. Sorry. I need somebody, hold on, make a motion.
I move to convene a public hearing pursuant to Arizona Revised Statute 15-905 for the presentation of the fiscal year 2025 annual expenditure budget.
I will second. Having a motion from Ms. Moran and a second from Ms. Clymer, I'll call for the vote. Ms. Clymer?
Yay.
Ms. Wallace?
Yay.
Ms. Moran?
Yay.
Mr. Owens?
Yay.
I'm also a yay. Motion passes. We will now convene our public hearing. This will be presented by CFO Vaughn.
Madam President, members of the governing board, Superintendent Davidson, colleagues and community, thank you for joining me tonight to discuss the proposed district budget for fiscal year 2025. Today's presentation aligns with the district's strategic plan to increase stakeholder knowledge and understanding of school finance and funding. State statute requires that school district propose an annual budget by July 5th each year and hold a public hearing and adopt the budget no later than July 15th. First, I will cover some general budget highlights. The district uses fund accounting and adopts budget for many different funds. Each fund has unique revenue sources and allowable uses. The district's largest funds are Maintenance and Operations, or M&O, which supports daily operating costs, people, and programs, and Unrestricted Capital Outlay, which supports buildings, improvements, furniture and equipment, technology, and other items that will be in use longer than a year. The budget across all funds has increased by approximately $24 million, and on the next slide, we will look at the main drivers of that change. Most of the increased budget is being driven by an increase in bond dollars available to spend as it relates to our build out of School 17. This is being offset in part by the closeout of ESSER 3 and the spend down of some of our capital carryover. I will now go into more detail on select individual funds, starting with M&O. Arizona School District's maintenance and operations budget is set by statutory formula that is regularly updated through the state's budgeting process. The formula is driven in large part by weighted student count, which considers average daily membership, or the number of full-time equivalent students served by the district, and student characteristics, such as special education status, to determine how much funding will be made available to the district to serve its students. Funding is also made available for transportation, which considers daily route miles driven to transport students to and from school. On this slide, you can see a year-over-year comparison of the budget available in M&O and its various sources. The proposed budget for fiscal year 2025 is based on a slight increase in student enrollment supported by the analysis provided by Applied Economics and an increase in per-pupil funding anticipated through the state budget. Those factors are driving the $1.6 million increase in revenue control limit from the last revised budget from this current year. The revenue control limit is the funding provided from the funding formula I described on the previous slide. It is the ongoing funding generated to support the district's students. We'll see in future budget revisions throughout the year that our revenue control limit estimates are updated with changes in student enrollment. This year, we will also see potential changes in per-pupil funding amounts due to the state budget not being finalized in time to fully utilize the new information in this proposed budget. I've done my best to update it based on what we anticipated at the time, but we might see a slight change. The district is also seeing an increase in the value of the district's voter-approved M&O override. This is being driven in large part by the additional per-pupil funding passed by the state for this coming year. We're also anticipating carrying over additional M&O resources due to the spend down of our ESSER 3 grant, which we anticipate to be a one-time increase. These increases are being partially offset by the increased resources being shifted to the Energy and Water Savings Fund. This is being driven by the district's work with Verigy in this coming year for the energy savings and conservation projects we've previously discussed. It's important to note that while M&O overrides and funding made available through the funding formula are ongoing, the budget balance carry forward is part of the district's rainy day fund. It's only replenished by spending less than the district receives in an ongoing from the ongoing funding sources, and is not an ongoing annual revenue source in and of itself. The district's M&O budget was developed considering guidance provided by the governing board at the March 5th governing board meeting, where the projected budget for fiscal year 2025 was approved. In fact, this proposed budget is simply reflecting that previous governing board direction on legal budget forms. This slide shows the high-level overview of the M&O budget by functional program area, such as general education and special education, and also highlights the budgeted classroom spending percentage of 71.7% of dollars being spent in the classroom. Looking at the M&O budget by type of spending, you can see that a great majority of the budget is between salaries and benefits and purchase professional services, which includes contracted staffing. This slide shows the M&O budget being proposed compared to the projected budget approved on March 5th. Most of the change is being driven by the increase in resources being shifted to support the energy and water saving project for next year. Again, those are the energy conservation improvements that we've previously discussed. As a reminder, the Unrestricted Capital Outlay Fund supports construction, remodels of facilities, equipment, textbooks, and other items that will last the district longer than a year. Similar to M&O, unrestricted capital outlay resources are provided to the district via a statutory formula that considers average daily membership or full-time equivalent students served by the district and a funding amount per student. Unrestricted capital outlay considers a prior year student count when determining funding, unlike M&O, which considers current year membership. Here you can see a year-over-year comparison of the unrestricted capital outlay budget limit. Most of the decrease in the fund is being caused by one-time funding we received from the state last year, not continuing, as well as anticipated spend down of the carryover in the current year. The unrestricted capital outlay budget is split fairly evenly between furniture, equipment, vehicles, textbooks, library books, and software. The remainder of the budget will be available for facility improvements and replacements. The Classroom Site Fund was originally created due to a voter-approved sales tax for education in the early 2000s. After 20 years as a voter-approved initiative, the state legislature took action to continue the Classroom Site Fund as opposed to let it expire. The revenue districts receive from the Classroom Site Fund is driven by sales tax the state collects related to the Classroom Site Fund, as well as certain land trust transactions. Each year, the Joint Legislative Budget Committee publishes a per-student allocation for the Classroom Site Fund. Districts receive Classroom Site Fund on prior year student counts, similar to unrestricted capital outlay. You can see the district is allocated to receive approximately $9.1 million in Classroom Site Fund revenues for fiscal year 2025. This slide shows the specific ways the district utilizes the Classroom Site Fund for instructional salaries and benefits, including base pay increases, performance pay for classroom teachers, and instructional aids for schools, depending on site enrollment. The district has a number of other funds that are included in the budget. I have highlighted a couple on this slide, along with the district's plans for fiscal year 2025. The district's M&O, unrestricted capital outlay, and adjacent ways budget discussed tonight are funded in part by local property taxes. The state funding formula for education includes a qualifying tax rate, which sets a consistent starting point for the expected community support of school districts across the state. From that starting point, the levy, or total dollar amount expected to be collected in taxes from the primary tax rate, is adjusted based on certain local factors. Secondary tax rates are set to support voter-approved initiatives such as the district's M&O override and bond program. These two amounts, along with the community's assessed valuation or the value of the taxable property in the district, set the tax rate. In total, the district's combined tax rate declined as shown on the slide, or at least is anticipated to. For tax purposes, the state limits the increase individual homeowners experience in their valuation to 5% a year. Based on the capped increase in valuation and the decline in tax rate, we estimate an average individual taxpayer will see a 2% increase in their property taxes from the district. This is just an estimate and could change based on property tax judgments that are pending at the county level and are outside of the control of the district. Also, this includes an adjacent ways levy the district is proposing to assist in the construction of School 17. Specifically, we presently anticipate $2 million of adjacent ways spending needed for the project, including the improvement of a half street coming up to the property. The district has proposed a $1 million levy this year to reduce the tax impact in any 1 year to our community. The adjacent ways is contributing 5.96 cents to the primary tax rate shown. The district has advertised this tax levy and will hold a truth and taxation hearing in July to further discuss the adjacent ways levy. At this time, I'm available to answer any questions you may have on the district's budget for fiscal year 2025.
Ms. Wallace, did you have any questions?
I do not.
Ms. Moran?
Yes, I have a couple of comments and a couple of questions. My first comment is I pulled up the budget from last year, the proposed budget. I don't have the number for classroom spending, what the actual most updated version is, but I just wanted to make sure that it's known that our classroom spending this year in M&O, we plan it to be 71.7%. Last year, we planned for 71.3%. So we are nudging more into the classroom, which I always like to see. My questions are, one of the things that's new on here and that's new to us is the transfer to energy and water fund for lease payment. Can you tell me how I'm going to see that flowing through to the eventual savings? Is that just going to be a reduction in the utility costs, or this is new? So tell me more about what we can expect to see.
Yeah, that's a great question. And actually, believe it or not, the size of it is new, but Litchfield's had a small amount for a long time. So prior to this year, the amount was $140,000. And that was from a previous energy and water savings uh, situation where the district had used it to install um, uh, a platform that allowed us to control AC units across the district. But it certainly has increased, and that's due to all of the solar panels that we plan to put in, and all those other improvements we plan to make. So each year, Verigy, the company that we're contracting with to do this work, they're required to engage with the district and produce a report to demonstrate the savings. And there's various different types of savings that the statute allows them to recognize. There's the decline in actual utility bills, obviously, right? That's the most clear one. But there's also the savings that we were experiencing because we're simply not using as much. So as the utility rates themselves go up, there's savings not just from us spending less, but spending less compared to what we would otherwise be spending if those projects weren't in place. And so long-winded answer is yes, you will see some reduction in the utility spend, but it'll be difficult to see the full amount because some of the savings is from what we would otherwise experience had we not done the project.
So for example, on slide 10, we have kind of the percentages broken down by category for the M&O budget. So this 4.2%, we don't necessarily expect that number is going to go down to like 3.8 or something. We expect it, at least it's going to stay steady, should be the expectation.
That would be great if it would just stay steady. And what they've shared with us is continue to basically budget an increase in utilities as we always would, because what we've effectively done, at least for the next 20 years, is we've locked in what we would expect that increase to be, and we won't fully capture true savings until that lease is paid off in that 20 after that 20 years, because those financings are structured specifically to have the projected savings pay for the lease. And so we'll still see those expenses. They just hopefully will be in a different form of a lease payment.
Okay, so it's kind of like we're prepaying the expenses to buy down a lower utility rate or lower energy expense rate over time.
Yes.
Okay.
And getting improvements to our facilities while we're doing it.
Okay, perfect. Let's see, my other question is, so when I look at slide 8 again, and I look at the budget carry forward, that number in M&O seems to be going up, but then I look at the budget carry forward number in the DAA, and that seems to be going down by more than what the other piece is going up. So is it safe to say that we are spending down some of our rainy day fund?
We are.
Okay.
And especially because it's in capital, it's on things that you might be able to actually see. For example, one of the items that's contributing to us spending that down is the portables or the modular classrooms that we're installing at some of our schools. It's the science adoption. It's Syntegics. It's those really large capital items that in many cases have a much larger upfront cost than the ongoing cost. But yes, we definitely had to dip into that rainy day fund to accomplish some of the things that we're accomplishing.
Okay, which I'm not opposed to. as you know. I know we're very, very conservative when it comes to our rainy day fund, but I will go ahead and ask the question, which is to say that we're still within our limits that we've set as a board, correct? Even with dipping
Yes.
into these funds. Okay, perfect. That's all my questions.
Mr. Owens?
Yeah, once again, Board Member Moran asks all my questions. I'm good.
I know, I feel like we should let her go first, the accountant over here. Ms. Clymer, did you have any questions?
No, I don't. Thank you.
I don't have any questions either. I feel like we have talked this budget to a lot. So I appreciate all the work you put into this. Thank you for the presentation.
Thank you.
I think we need, yeah, I need a motion to adjourn the public hearing.
I move to adjourn the public hearing.
I'll second.
Having a motion from Ms. Clymer and a second from Mr. Owens, I'll call for the vote. Ms. Wallace,
Yay.
Ms. Moran,
Yay.
Mr. Owens,
Yay.
Ms. Clymer.
Yay.
I'm also yay, motion passes. Next, if everyone could please join us, we are going to do the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. Next, we will take a moment of silent reflection. Okay. Next, we are going to move on. The next item on the agenda is legal information regarding Attorney General open meeting law investigation. This is going to be presented by our attorney, Ms. Carrie O'Brien.
Thank you. All right, good evening, board members. I'm happy to be with you tonight. So tonight I'm here to discuss an opinion that came from the Attorney General that was issued May 16th of 2024 regarding complaints that were submitted to the Attorney General in November of 2022. Just to remind you, the membership on the board was different 2 years ago, and it included, in alphabetical order, Ms. Clymer, Dr. Dowling, Mr. Honak, Ms. Moran, and Ms. Seidema. So the complaint investigated, it was a consolidation of 3 complaints. 2 involved the March 15th, 2022 board meeting, and 1 involved the August 30th board meeting. So I'd like to read excerpts from the Attorney General's analysis and the findings, because I think that's better than me reanalyzing what the AG did. And then I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have. Okay, so toward the end of the March 15th, 2022 board meeting, the agenda provided reports from governing board members, which is common on your agendas. The description for this item stated governing board members will share information on recent events attended. Governing board members will not discuss or take action on any current event summary. The first complaint about the March 15th board meeting alleged that then President Moran violated the open meeting law by interrupting and attempting to discuss and deliberate what board member Honak was reporting when he was giving his board member report. Another complaint alleged that board members Moran, Seidema, and Clymer improperly cut off Mr. Honak's remarks and adjourned the meeting early in violation of the open meeting law. During Mr. Honak's time to deliver his current event summary, he began by explaining that he had seen a movie last night that was called, quote, "Whose Children Are They?" He then spoke for more than 4 minutes, expressing his opinions on communism and its plot to infect the schools, the conflict between Russia and Ukraine, the Russian Revolution and the fall of the Soviet Union, the formation of the Department of Education, and its purpose to, quote, "undermine the morals of children and destroy the family," the global warming myth and its effect of destroying the US economy, the reasons why equity policies are, quote, "just plain communism," and American energy policy. Board Member Moran interjected 4.5 minutes into Mr. Honak's comments, stating, quote, "Board Member Honak, I'm having a hard time understanding how this relates to our elementary school board." Mr. Honak responded by shouting, "You know what? You know what? Shut your mouth. I am talking about our schools, and you don't have the right to beat on me. You don't have the right to beat on me." As this exchange continued, Ms. Moran and Mr. Honak, Ms. Moran asked Mr. Honak twice more to please relate his comments to the Litchfield Elementary School District. Mr. Honak interrupted Ms. Moran, yelling, quote, "Keep your mouth shut and I'm going to finish." He shouted at her, "You have no right to tell me when I'm on the agenda or not. I have the floor. I decide that. Afterwards, you can make an open meeting law complaint. You cannot stop me." Further, in comments directed to the audience, Mr. Honak referred to Ms. Moran as a clown and insinuated that she is a communist. While Mr. Honak continued to speak, Ms. Zaidama made a motion to adjourn the meeting. Over Mr. Honak's shouting, Ms. Moran called for a vote. The motion carried, with Ms. Moran, Ms. Clymer, and Ms. Zaidama voting in favor. Mr. Honak responded by shouting, "Shut the blank up." The Attorney General cited the open meeting law, which requires that public bodies provide meeting agendas that, quote, "list the matters, the specific matters to be discussed, considered, or decided at the meeting." However, the section of the open meeting law which allows members of a public body to, quote, "present a brief summary of current events without listing in the agenda the specific matters to be summarized, so long as the summary is listed on the agenda and the public body does not propose, discuss, deliberate, or take legal action at that meeting on any matter in the summary, unless the specific matter is properly noticed for legal action." Contrary to the allegations raised in the complaint, it is clear that Ms. Moran did not attempt to discuss or deliberate on the topics that Mr. Honak discussed. The open meeting law cited by the Attorney General. Instead, she only attempted to redirect Mr. Honak's comments to the noticed agenda item, which were a brief summary of current events. The plain language of the open meeting law indicates that the current event summary is intended to be a limited exception to the specific notice requirement of the open meeting law. A brief summary indicates a short statement providing a limited amount of information, and a current event is commonly understood in this context to mean something notable and relevant to the district that happens within a close time frame to the present. In contrast here, Mr. Honak's comments focused on his personal opinions regarding several areas of policy, none of which related to any current events relevant to the district. Because Mr. Honak's comments exceeded the scope of the noticed agenda item, Ms. Moran acted appropriately with respect to the open meeting law to limit Mr. Honak's remarks in order to avoid a violation of the open meeting law. The Attorney General also referenced Governing Board Policy BED, which requires the board president to be responsible for the orderly conduct of the meeting and rule on the appropriateness of subjects being presented. The Attorney General also noted that the open meeting law does not prescribe when it's appropriate to adjourn a meeting, so that was not an implication related to the open meeting law. With regard to the August 30th, 2022 meeting, that was a special board meeting, and there was an agenda item entitled, quote, "Discussion regarding content of correspondence from Attorney General dated August 22nd, 2022 regarding open meeting law violation." During the discussion of that item, the district's attorney reported on the contents of the Attorney General's office's letter disposing of a prior open meeting law complaint. In that letter, the office found that Ms. Moran had violated the open meeting law by addressing a speaker during the call to the public rather than waiting until the end of the open call. After her error, she apologized and stated that she would remember to follow the proper procedures under the open meeting law going forward. After Ms. Moran finished her comments, she called the next agenda item. Mr. Honak interrupted, declaring, quote, point of order, and stated, quote, Kimberly Moran is a disgrace to Litchfield School District and to children in this district who deserve a decent education as a serial open meeting law violator. He went on to say that Ms. Moran had consistently voted against goals to improve academics, pushed critical race theory against the wishes of the public. He also criticized Ms. Moran's response to a recent presentation to the board regarding proposals to improve academics and discussed an upcoming budget override election and a recent teacher training in which he said teachers were, quote, forced to watch a video to learn how implicitly biased they were. Mr. Honak ended his comments by calling for Ms. Moran to resign from the board. The open meeting law provides that agendas for public meetings, again, lists the specific matters to be discussed, considered, or decided at that meeting, and that the public body may discuss, consider, or make decisions only on matters listed on the agenda and other related matters. Other matters may only be discussed if they're reasonably connected to that specific agenda item itself, and there's not merely a general topic that the agenda touches on. In the August 2022, the August 30th meeting, Mr. Honak, I'm sorry. The specific matter that was under discussion at the August 30th meeting was the August 2022 letter from the Attorney General. Although Mr. Honak referenced the violation, which was the subject of the agenda item as one of the several reasons he disapproved of Ms. Moran's performance on the board, his additional comments related to Ms. Moran's positions and prior votes on equity academics and his comments on the budget override and teacher development course were outside the scope of the specifically noticed agenda item. Accordingly, the Attorney General found that Mr. Honak violated the open meeting law and that Ms. Moran, Ms. Clymer, and Ms. Zaidema did not violate the open meeting law. Now, this complaint was filed nearly 2 years ago, and the Attorney General is now disposing of it last month, which is an unusual thing. So the Attorney General noted that Mr. Honak is no longer on the governing board, and so it only required that I be here today to present the summary of the contents of the letter and that the district post this finding on its website for 6 months and then report that back to the AG in November of 2024. So that's a summary of the AG's finding on the 2022 complaints that were outstanding. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have.
Ms. Moran, did you have any questions or comments?
I do not have any questions, but I do have some comments. I am no stranger to open meeting law. I have 2 violations, both procedural, both made during a public meeting, both made during the call to public. Most people think that open meeting law violations are made due to secretive meetings or conspiring between board members. So you would think that I might feel vindicated in some way by these findings, by Mr. Honak being found guilty of an open meeting law violation. While I'm glad justice is served and due process has been accomplished, reading these findings is painful. I lived through the harassment that is documented in this letter, and I still fear for my safety today. I in no way relish in Mr. Honak's misconduct. Instead, I am left wondering what has happened to him in his life that brought about these actions. I hope he gets the help needed to live out a happy and productive life in Fountain Hills. I am pleased to have one more issue related to Mr. Honak resolved, so we can continue our forward progress toward growth and improvements for our students.
Mr. Owens, did you have any questions or comments?
No comments. Thanks.
Ms. Clymer, did you have any questions or comments?
No questions. Thank you for coming to present. I know seems like we've been waiting a long time for this resolution. So I will concur with Ms. Moran that while the legal remedy is what it is, I think for those of us that lived through the dark days of 2020 to 2023, are just glad that we are past it and happy to have this information out in the public, and hopefully anything else that comes our way, we'll be able to resolve it in a much different fashion than we have in the past. Thank you.
Ms. Wallace. No comments, thank you. I don't have any questions. Thank you very much for coming and sharing this information so that we can comply with what we were ordered to do by the Attorney General's office. I will say that this is a relief as a board president to know that if meetings are getting out of hand, that I myself can do something about reining it back in, because it was a worrisome time where we felt like you couldn't say anything, right, and stop anything. So what this does is, I think, give board presidents in our whole state a little bit more peace of mind, because we heard for a long time that Ms. Moran had violated open meeting law by doing that. It was said a lot of times in these meetings, and now we have evidence that that is not what happened. So thank you for presenting this. I appreciate it.
President Zeidema, I think there is good direction on what is a brief summary of current events for board member updates, and then also the authority to adjourn meetings.
Yes, agreed. Thank you very much. Okay, with that, we're going to move on to recognitions and celebrations, which is going to be done by Executive Director Nuanez.
Thank you, Madam President, governing board members, Dr. Davidson, fellow cabinet members, and esteemed guests, both present and online. Tonight, we are honored to recognize and celebrate one of our most dedicated and inspiring educators, Monique Mendoza. As a special needs teacher at Litchfield Elementary School, Monique has consistently demonstrated exceptional dedication and passion for her students' growth and development. Her unwavering commitment to her students is truly remarkable, especially in the light of personal challenges that she and her family have faced. Despite the significant medical challenges that both Monique and her husband have endured, she has remained steadfast in her dedication to her students. Her resilience and determination to continue providing the highest level of education and support to her students are nothing less than exceptional. Monique's ability to persevere and excel in her role, regardless of her personal struggles, is an inspiration to us all. Monique's efforts have not gone unnoticed. One of her classroom parents recently nominated her for the Arizona's Families Surprise Squad, recognizing her exceptional contributions and the profound impact she has had on her students' lives. The Surprise Squad visited the school and presented Monique with a $5,000 check to assist her family through these difficult times. This generous gesture is a testament to the love and appreciation that Monique has garnered from the community she serves. And also just take a look at the support that has come with her tonight that shows that she is a dearly loved person, an exceptional heart. Monique Mendoza embodies the true spirit and dedication and compassion. She is an outstanding employee, but more importantly, she is an incredible person with a heart that touches the lives of everyone around her. We are immensely proud to have Monique as a member of our Litchfield Elementary School District family, and we are grateful for the positive influence she has had on her students and colleagues. So please join all of us, a cabinet, all of the LESD 79 family, in celebrating Monique Mendoza for her exceptional contributions and unwavering commitment to her students. Monique, thank you for being a shining example of educational excellence. Your impact is immeasurable, and we truly appreciate everything that you do. Yes. Now, can we take a picture with you and your former assistant? Principal? Come on up, I'll go with you.
Hi, everyone. I just want to say thank you. The one thing that was the best thing for me was having a support in a village of my family and the teachers that I work with. Without them, I'm probably sure I would not be standing. They believed in me. They prayed for me. Litchfield has been a great district that I've worked for. And I'm thankful that this is my 3rd year and I would not be where I'm at without anyone behind me. So it's been a great emotional and roller coaster year, but I'm excited. Thank you for everything. Thank you for being a really strong board and district, and I love being a teacher here. Thank you.
Congratulations again. We are so thankful to have teachers like you in our district. That's what makes Litchfield so great. And side note, so awesome that Dr. Davidson was her assistant principal 20 years ago. How cool is that? So yay.
So I guess the real question was, Carter, what kind of student was she? I mean, that's really what we want to know here.
He did recognize that was good.
Yeah, she shared that she never had to visit my office.
Okay, well, enough said. There we go. That's what we wanted to know.
Okay, next we are going to move on to public requests to speak. I'm going to read this disclaimer. We have quite a few people want to speak. So we only have 30 minutes. I'm gonna read this speech, but I'm gonna let you know who's speaking first and who's speaking next so you can be ready to go so we can get as many people through in case we run out of time. We just want to make sure as many people can speak as possible. Pursuant to the Arizona Revised Statute 38-431.01H, this agenda item provides an open call to the public, allowing individuals to address the governing board on any issue within the jurisdiction of the board. Items not listed on the agenda may be brought to the governing board's attention under this section of the agenda. Due to the Arizona open meeting law, the governing board cannot discuss or take any action on items not listed on the agenda. Therefore, pursuant to ARS 38-431.01H, Response to public comment about matters not appearing on the agenda will be limited to individual board members who may ask staff to study the matter, respond to any criticism, or ask that the matter be put on a future agenda for further consideration and decision at a later date. Please limit your comments to no more than 3 minutes, and no more than 30 minutes will be devoted to the public comment portion of the agenda. When you approach the podium, please state your name for the record. We are going to have, our first speaker is going to be Easton, and then next will be Nixon. And then behind that person, just so you're ready, is Shelley.
Hello. I'm here to read a statement on behalf of Claire Boatman and then a quick statement of my own. The one from Claire is, a little drama brought me out of my shell. I want other kids to experience the feeling of people cheering you on for putting yourself out there. Little drama is a great way to put yourself out in the open. Make yourself confident. They teach you how to act, which is so much fun on the kids' part, and they find out it's something they love doing. That's what happened with me, and I started doing little drama in first grade. Now, 7 years later, I'm on a big stage performing. I wouldn't be where I am without a little drama. And my statement is, with my experience with a little drama, I was able to land a part in Dracula in my current school, and yeah. Thank you for your time.
We have Nixon and then Shelley, followed by Betsy.
Hi, I'm Nixon Schlesinger, and I'm here to talk about why you shouldn't raise the fees to have a club. And I'm in a little drama. In a little drama, we do dances, plays, and we are also in the Christmas parade. This past school year, we did Peter Pan, and the next we're supposed to do The Wizard of Oz. So if you raise the fees, we won't be able to do The Wizard of Oz. And everyone was so excited about it. A little drama also helps a lot of kids talk in front of big audiences, and it even helped me be here. A little drama also helps kids make friends, and if you ask the parents, I think they all love a little drama too. If we don't have after-school clubs like a little drama, where else will we go? So please don't raise their fees so high that we won't have a little drama in clubs like that anymore.
Next, we have Shelley, followed by Betsy, and then Julie.
That makes me a little emotional, so I'll try. Ladies and gentlemen of the Litchfield School Board, thank you for allowing me to speak. My name is Shelley Smith, and I have run an after-school drama program for over 17 years in the Litchfield Elementary School District. I'm here to discuss the importance of keeping the facility fees for local after-school programs at a reasonable rate so we can continue to offer quality programs to our children. For over 17 years, a little drama has been a cornerstone of art education in our district. Our program has enriched the lives of countless students. We have showcased performance like the Thriller Medley at the Fall Carnival and a winter holiday production. We march in the Christmas in the Park Parade. We have a springtime performance and an end of the year play involving a multiple of schools. These productions include beloved classics such as Peter Pan, Cinderella, and The Wizard of Oz, as well as my original plays, A Little Surfer and Mixed Up Fairy Tale. These plays are tailored to each student, giving each child a unique role and boosting their confidence. I am proud to say that I live in the district and I have 2 daughters who attended Litchfield and Western Sky. I am also proud that I taught the children of prior superintendent, Dr. Lean and Jody Gunning, as well as the board members of Ms. Clymer and former member Elaine Weathersby. Raising the rental fee to $40 an hour would put a Little Drama out of business in the district. This increase is significant for a small community-run business like ours. The reasons we were given to increase were not for the school to make a profit, but to recover the cost of utilities, maintenance, and staff, and to make the fees comparable to the surrounding districts. Litchfield School District is now higher than any other school district. Our program runs until 4 p.m. on school days. Teachers are still in the building and often still in my room. My 12 to 20 students per school do not significantly impact the carpet, which I was told. And in 17 years, we have never had a complaint about damages. We don't create extra trash for the custodian staff. We do not use, when we do use the stage after hours, we are charged an unlock fee. My rehearsal for the plays go for an hour and a half, which I will be charged $60 to $80 per class because the students need more time for rehearsals for a production. It is puzzling why the facility fee for a classroom is the same for a field, which inherently has different maintenance and usage fees. The benefit of theater arts, dance program, and visual arts are immense.
I'm sorry, Ms. Smith, your time is up.
Okay. I have 7 or 8 letters from students that could not make it, and I hope we have time to have somebody read those letters.
Our next speaker is going to be Betsy, and then we have Julie and Monica.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the Litchfield Elementary School Board. Thanks for allowing me to speak this evening. My name is Betsy Etchart, and I have run an after-school visual arts program called Color Wheels for 7 years here in the Litchfield district. Like Miss Shelley, I'm here to discuss the importance of keeping the facilities fee for local after-school programs at a reasonable rate so organizations like ours can continue offering the quality programs to the children. I'm asking 3 things. First, that you offer a facility fee of $20 to local tax-paying residents of Litchfield Elementary School District who are running small businesses that benefit our students instead of the new $40 an hour fee that was instituted on the 28th of May. The second is that I ask you to consider making use of the goods and services exchange mentioned in the facilities handbook so that Ms. Shelley and I and other providers can provide in-kind services to a large number of students during the school day as full or partial payment of facilities rental fees. I'm also asking that if you cannot offer us this rate, that you allow us the 24-25 fiscal year to become nonprofit organizations so that we will pay the same $20 rental fee as organizations like the Girl Scouts and the Boy Scouts. I hold a Master of Fine Arts degree and have taught the arts at the college level, and I'm really grateful. I've been able to work with students in the LESD as a teaching artist. I tailor my classes to the students, working to ensure each student has a customized experience and working with them at their own level, providing all sorts of sculptural materials and tools that they would not otherwise have access to. In each of my classes, I accommodate students with ADHD and autism diagnoses, with IEPs and 504 plans, and I provide scholarships to students who would not otherwise be able to afford my program. Raising the rental fee to $40 an hour would put Color Wheels out of business in the district. Shelley Smith of A Little Drama has already outlined the reasons we were given for the increased fee, and my model is similar to hers. I teach 10 to 18 students in the art room directly after school. We've never had a complaint about damage or a mess, and we usually leave the art room actually cleaner than when we arrived. The social, emotional, and academic benefits of practicing the arts, including spatial and temporal reasoning, has been proven in academic research by Dr. Elliot Eisner of Stanford University, by the Brooks Institute, and many others. The arts teach collaborative skills and creative problem solving. They teach how to deal with unexpected disappointments. They teach kids how to learn. And it teaches them that they can imagine the world a better place and make it a better place.
I'm sorry, time's up.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Julie, and then we will have Monica, followed up by, I'm sorry, Shield. Okay, you know who you are.
Good evening, everybody. I am here and I am going to be speaking on behalf of 4 students who are not able to be here today. All about Little Drama and what it means to them. So Rachel says Little Drama meant a lot to me in elementary school. It added a lot of fun to my school day, gave me an extracurricular, and helped me make more friends. It also is what first sparked my interest in theater. I'm currently in middle school, been doing all the productions, and I wouldn't have my experience now if it wasn't for a Little Drama and Mrs. Shelley. Ella says Little Drama taught me teamwork and perseverance. I made so many friends in that club and they're really good friends now, and I wouldn't pass the option for the world, so I really want to keep it alive. Hannah says, I'm currently a student entering the 5th grade at Litchfield Elementary School. Last year, Little Drama performed the play of Peter Pan. My role was Captain Hook's assistant, Smee. It was inspiring and fun. When students join a Little Drama, they get the experience to be in the spotlight, and Mrs. Shelley makes sure each one gets a part. Mrs. Shelley pays attention to what character might fit each person's personality. Drama is a place to be yourself and have fun. That is why I think we should keep a Little Drama program so students can have the opportunity to join school productions. Thank you. And Addie says, I would have liked to have been able to attend the meeting tonight to support Mrs. Shelley. However, I have a volleyball commitment this evening. I wanted to write this to express to everyone how much a Little Drama has truly impacted me, my friends, and my previous cast members. First of all, I started a Little Drama when I was in the 1st grade. Every Wednesday after school, I would go from Rancho Santa Fe to Litchfield and rehearse for the Wizard of Oz play we were working on. It was very successful and it taught me to be proud, confident, to have courage, and to have fun. The year after that, we did Snow White, and a week before the show, it was canceled due to COVID. It was heartbreaking and I missed it so much, but I was extra happy to perform my last play with a Little Drama in the 5th grade. I loved my part as Jelly Linda in A Little Surfer. It was a blast, and I noticed everyone in my class was more brave, joyful, and proud after taking this class. I also did a Halloween thriller dance every year. It's incredible, and we all get to dress up and dance to a mixed soundtrack of thriller, Monster Mash, and Ghostbusters. It's super cool and fun to perform. At the end of every year, Mrs. Shelley has a class to do fun skits and commercials too. This is for everyone to try to see if they like acting and performing. It also gives kids a chance to try new things and explore new careers and jobs. A Little Drama taught me to try new things, have fun, and be confident. I'm currently an incoming 7th grader at Western Sky. Last year, I got a lead role in The Addams Family and had so much fun. I wasn't scared to give it a shot, even knowing anyone in the whole school could audition. I just showed up, did my best, and believed in myself. I never would have been able to accomplish such a big task without being in a Little Drama. I can see myself doing acting the rest of my life, and I wouldn't have even known it if I hadn't done a Little Drama. Mrs. Shelley works so hard every year with passion and determination, and it impacts kids' lives every day. I can't imagine my life without a Little Drama.
Thank you. Next, we have Monica.
Hello, my name is Monica Bustamante. I'm talking on behalf for Lauren Howard. Little Drama has changed my life. I know it has changed many others too. I was in a Little Drama kindergarten through 5th grade, and it helped me grow in so many ways. I learned to have confidence because I was pushed to go on stage and be by myself. I made the best friend in Little Drama, and we are best friends today. I did Peter Pan, the Wizard of Oz, Snow White, and Little Surfer. I was very sad though that COVID prevented us from doing Cinderella and Mixed Up Fairy Tale. Every year we did the Thriller Melody Dance, which we perform at the Halloween Carnival. It was so much fun. Then even more amazing part is that Miss Shelley creates all the plays and dances. The kids that Miss Shelley teaches in Little Drama go on to do incredible things. For example, in the Western Sky Middle School Adams Family production. 16 of the 33 cast members were in the Little Drama in elementary school. I just finished sixth grade, but without the little help of Little Drama, I'm not sure if I would have I'm not sure if I would have had the confidence to do things like the spelling bee. I've learned so much from Miss Shelley, and and I want younger students to have the opportunity to experience the incredible productions with Little Drama. Little Drama is my favorite club that I have ever been part of. I don't know what I would have done without it. Thank you.
Thank you. We have one more speaker. I don't want to say your name wrong again.
Good evening. My name is Salithio Israel, and I'll be reading on behalf of Claire Boatman. Lil Drama brought me out of my shell. I want other kids to experience the feeling of people cheering on you for putting yourself out there. Lil Drama is a great way to put yourself out in the open, make yourself confident. They teach you how to act, which is so much fun on the kids' part, and they find out it's something they love doing. That's what happened to me. I started doing Lil Drama in first grade. Now, 7 years later, I'm on the big stage performing. I want to be where I am without Lil Drama.
Thank you. That is the last of our speakers. So we are going to take a 2-minute break and we will come back to the meeting then. Okay. Is everyone ready to go? We got everybody back that's going to be here. It got very quiet in here. A little bit colder with less people in the room. True, true, true. Okay. We are going to get back to our meeting. We are on to the adoption of agenda and consideration of consent agenda. I'll go through and see if anyone has anything they would like to pull off the consent agenda. Mr. Owens,
No.
Ms. Clymer,
No, thank you.
Ms. Wallace,
No.
Ms. Moran.
Also, no.
What? I'm also no. So if someone would like to make a motion.
Hurry before Kim changes your mind. I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Having a motion from Ms. Clymer and a second from Mr. Owens, I'll call for the vote. Mr. Owens,
Yay.
Ms. Clymer,
Yay.
Ms. Wallace,
Yay.
Ms. Moran.
Yay.
I'm also yay. Motion passes. Oh my gosh, that's so awesome. Ryan said we're gonna be quick. He's right. He's right. But you know, now that you put it out there, we'll see. We're gonna move on to action items now. The proposed fiscal year 2024-25 expenditure budget is gonna be presented by CFO Vaughn. Sorry, I knew that was gonna happen eventually.
Whatever you'd like to call me, I'm good with it. If you have any further questions from earlier, I'm happy to answer them. Otherwise, I don't want to make you sit through the same presentation twice.
Ms. Clymer, did you have any additional questions or comments?
No, thank you.
Ms. Wallace,
No questions or comments.
Ms. Moran,
No additional questions or comments.
Mr. Owens?
None from me, thanks.
I don't have any questions either, so if someone would like to make a motion.
I move to approve the proposed fiscal year 24-25 expenditure budget as presented.
I will second.
Having a motion from Ms. Clymer and a second from Ms. Moran, I will call for the vote. Ms. Clymer,
Yay.
Ms. Wallace,
Yay.
Ms. Moran,
Yay.
Mr. Owens?
Yay.
I'm also a yay. Motion passes. We are moving along. But I think this next one will take a little bit of time. We're going to move on to the revised facility use handbook and fee schedule for fiscal year 24-25. This is also by CFO Vaughn.
Madam President, members of the governing board, Superintendent Davidson, colleagues and community, thank you for joining me tonight to discuss an update to the facility use handbook. The governing board previously approved an update to the facilities handbook on May 28th. We've been receiving and processing feedback on the update to the facility use fees. As a result of this feedback, we're proposing additional changes. First, inclusion of the option for user groups to enroll as an education community partner. As part of this agreement, the user group agrees to share 30% of their revenue with the district as opposed to paying an hourly rental fee. This is a continuing practice at the district and is more beneficial for some user groups. Second, the introduction of a new grouping for facility rentals for nonprofit organizations providing youth activities. In recognition of their nonprofit status and shared mission with the district, we are proposing honoring these groups with a rate that is half of the rate the board approved on May 28th. Third, to support the reduced rate I previously noted, the introduction of a fee that's only applicable for rentals that end at 6 p.m. or later. This fee is consistent with the practice of some other surrounding districts. The $100 fee is specifically designed to cover the cost of having to pay an employee overtime to come unlock and lock the facilities, continue to run the air conditioning later than the district otherwise would, etc. Again, this would only apply for rentals that end at 6 p.m. or later, or on district breaks. As a result, it would not impact those programs that start right as school ends as our elementary campus, many of the programs you heard about tonight. In recognition of the changes we are trying to implement next year, we are also proposing a grace period where all youth activities will be presumed to be nonprofit and get the lower rate prior to October 1st. This should allow organizations the needed time to evaluate if they would like to become a nonprofit organization recognized by the Internal Revenue Service for their mission of educating students, and as a result, enjoy a lower cost of renting our facilities. Along with the options we've provided, including a phased-in approach for youth activities, reduced rates for nonprofit organizations conducting youth activities, and our community education partner option for organizations to identify the most effective rental option for them. They also have the option to volunteer in our schools and have their services credited against the charges at the rate of Arizona's minimum wage. The goal of our facilities rental fee changes is to be responsible and responsive to feedback we've received both from our user groups, our families, community, staff members, and new administration who have a desire to see our facilities and grounds better maintained. To be able to provide the type of customer service that has come to be expected, the district needs to add additional staff. Additionally, where our custodial or grounds crews are pulled away from their regular duties or have to modify how they do their work due to presence of the user groups, the district needs to be able to respond so that the service our schools are receiving from these teams do not suffer due to the additional workload caused by user groups as a whole. I'm available to answer any questions, and I look forward to the discussion we'll have around this item.
Ms. Wallace, did you have any questions or comments?
Yeah, I've received a lot of feedback on this in the last week, and I apologize that in the last meeting that we did not pull this to discuss this from the consent agenda. I feel that the jump was very large, going from especially like the gym rental being $20 an hour all the way up to 65. And correct me, have we always had this additional $100 fee?
It's been in different forms. Previously, it looked a little bit different. It was $60 and it did not look at that 6 p.m. time frame.
Okay. I think like going to increasing that to 100 and the $65 an hour. Now, if someone wants to use our gym, I don't think running around in tennis shoes is like with 20 kids is greatly impacting the floors or the use of the gym that in comparison to running gym classes all day. And so I think that going from $20 an hour to $65 an hour and then increasing other fees around that, we're kind of asking people not to use our facilities. The people that are using our facilities are not making a lot of money. They're barely making any money at all, if any at all. And I think we want our community and our kids to use our buildings and have these great programs that some of these people are offering. So I think we need to do what we can to be responsible in not costing ourselves money. But at the same time, I think we need to be careful to, I don't know what the right word is, be honest about how much extra cost it's really costing us to have these people here. I don't think that there's a lot of wear and tear like from the groups that presented today and from kids running around in a gym in tennis shoes. Now, if something happens, there can obviously be a clause that there's a fee associated with any damage done, but I don't think that there's a lot of additional cost in that outside of our utilities. I'm done for now.
Okay. Ms. Moran?
Yeah, I think based on the public feedback that we received, there is a misconception that we do not support after-school programming, which is completely false. I think A Little Drama is a wonderful program. I wish more of our students would participate in that. However, that is not a Litchfield extracurricular activity. That is sponsored by an outside organization. And we are in the business of educating our students and using taxpayer dollars to educate our students while they are here during the school day. And so if a parent opts to enroll their child in one of these after-school programs, fantastic. That's up to them to pay for that. It's also up to any business to create and maintain a viable profit model for their business, including us. We have to be responsible as the owners of the facilities and the people who are maintaining the facilities and paying the people who need to come and make these things happen to make sure that we are charging an appropriate rate. I don't know what that rate is. I don't know what that rate would best be named at. I'm leaving that up to you. However, I don't want to see, I agree with Board Member Wallace in that I don't want to see these programs go away due to our fees. I think there is a big difference in a for-profit youth activity and a not-for-profit youth activity. So I'm glad that we're giving some time for people to take that into consideration and potentially change their status from for-profit to not-for-profit. My concern with the grandfathered timeframe is, having worked with the IRS on getting not-for-profit status numerous times in the past, September 30th might be a bit of a time crunch for that. I would like to maybe see that be extended until the first of the year. Again, that would give more of a grace period for those folks that would decide that that would be how they want to go, and give them a little more time to get all of that paperwork filled out. There is an online application form now, but it still can take some time. Other than that, yeah, I don't know. Can you answer if the two programs that were represented here during the public comment, the Color Wheels and A Little Drama, are those community education partners? Are those not-for-profits, or are those for-profit youth activities?
My understanding is that they are for-profit entities.
Okay, so that would be up to them if they wanted to go for a not-for-profit status based on children's education. Okay, that's all my comment for now. Thank you.
Mr. Owens?
Excuse me. Yeah, I tend to follow line with Board Member Moran's comments about, what exactly our purpose is here, and these facilities that we own and are custodians of. Those are to educate our children using our taxpayer dollars and being good stewards of those. We heard some great comments about the impacts of these programs, and just like, students can choose to sign up and participate in, A Little Drama or Color Wheels. They can also participate in clubs and sports programs that are separate, that I find are identical, right? They pay a fee to participate in those, whether those organizations make money or not. That's how they decide to run it. So I do have some questions. I don't know if you're able to answer them. Some of them already got answered, right? A Little Drama and Color Wheels are both for profit. So, whether it's, however much money they determine that they need to make, that's still their income, right? And so they're using our school facilities to profit and make an income off of our students in the district. The field usage fees. So I live in Verado, and where would like a CCV fall in for this? What would they pay per hour? Do they pay the $20? Are they considered a nonprofit?
CCV, I believe we have a separate agreement with them associated with the Verado Assembly.
Okay.
It's fairly complicated over there. So if you don't mind, I'd prefer to give you a Friday update so I don't miss.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Where I'm going with this, and this isn't to, pinpoint or point out, call them out. It's one of the big things, and I think this is what Board Member Wallace was kind of referring to, is the impact that they have, the impact that a field usage has, and large usage is definitely more than a gym for now, right? But at the same time, you have to have black and white. You can't be like, oh, we're going to charge you $10 and we're going to charge you $30. And so I understand the need for it. I also agree. I wish we would have discussed this prior to voting on it. So I apologize that we didn't pull it off the consent agenda then. But yeah, sorry to kind of pause here. It's difficult because you don't want to see kids not have opportunities to participate in these programs, but at the same time, it's not our job, right? It's not our mission And do we have any input into what they talk, like, you know, the programs and the plays that they do? Okay, so, all right, that's all I have.
Ms. Clymer?
I think I would agree on the merits of the comments that have been said here, but one thing I do disagree with is that we don't share the same mission as these organizations. We, as a district, have dedicated ourselves to educating the whole child for as long as I've been here and probably decades before that. Part of educating the whole child is after-school enrichment programs. It is being a part of a community, no matter how small it is, and coming into your own, whether that's through drama or art or chess club or whatever. I do agree that these are for-profit entities and we have to treat them as such, but we are not a for-profit entity. So these numbers to me should be covering our costs and only covering our cost. Why would we charge them more than it's costing us to run this? If these are truly, if it really costs $40 an hour to maintain a field, then I'm okay charging that. If it really costs $40 an hour to maintain a classroom, I will support that. And if that's what you say that it is, I will support that. If it costs us $20 to do that, why would we make a profit on that? That's not our business model. We're not here to charge the community money to use our facilities. At least I don't feel like that's in our mission. I want to make sure that our employees are paid for doing the work and coming in and staying. Our facilities have certainly, you know, they take a beating just with the thousands of kids that are walking through our doors every day. So we certainly need to make sure they're maintained in the proper way for our students that are here to receive the education that we're, to provide them. But I don't agree that we need to charge more than it costs us to run the facility. And so I guess my question to you is, what are our break-even costs for each one of these things? And I do agree with Board Member Moran that if possible, and we do, I don't mind the tiered approach at all. I think that's appropriate. All of these things have different reasons for being and different budgets and things like that. Is if we could create a larger span of time for that grandfathered clause to get them to December, the end of December, I think would give them, you know, most of these folks that are going to be impacted by this switch from a for-profit to a not-for-profit are probably everyday community members that are just hosting a little drama or colored wheels or whatever after school. They're certainly not larger for-profit, you know, entities that would have gone through this process with the IRS before. So I'd like to give them as much time as we could. And so I guess I'll just come back to fundamentally, I think that these programs provide more for our students than our concern about making money off of our facilities in my mind. So I guess my end question is, does this represent our break-even cost to make sure our facilities are maintained and intact for the students that we are to educate every day?
The short answer is no. Our goal, as I tried to state, but maybe I wasn't as clear, is to improve the quality of service we're giving both the user groups and our students and families that are in our facilities every day. So the field use rates were set both by looking at some other field use rates that we had collected, as well as the cost to add a second grounds crew, as an example. And so no, it wasn't set just to cover our current costs, but I also think it's important to realize that we're presently staffed basically not considering user groups. Right now, effectively, Dan Ensign opens the facilities anytime someone's using the facilities after hours, truly after hours, because while we offer pay to staff members to do that work, not many that are working a 40-hour work week are interested in that additional work. So I was looking at adding full positions to handle that work, because it's not fair to continue to ask Mr. Ensign, just as an example, to do that work while he's focused on building School 17 and doing everything else that comes with being our director of construction. And so no, the rates weren't set just to cover our costs. They were set to improve the quality of service that we're providing, and some consideration for replenishment cycles, which we're still in the process of truly figuring out all that work. That's going to be some of our strategic initiatives with the new strategic plan.
Thank you. Thank you for that clarification. Let me just have a response and then I'll pass it on to the next person. I absolutely agree with the thought that, you know, we always want to sort of raise our game as it comes to customer service. It is hard with the amount of staffing that we have in the past, currently, and probably forevermore, right, in public education to really provide the level of customer service that we want. However, I do not think that it is the responsibility of our community partners to foot the bill for us to increase our customer service to our own constituents. So if we are asking, if we want to increase the customer service for these folks specifically, I'm all for charging them for that. If we are saying we are going to hire a second grounds crew because it helps our fields maintain during the day when our own kids are using it, I think that's going a step too far. It's not their responsibility to better maintain our fields. That's our responsibility. We've got to figure out a way to do that. In terms of Dan, I mean, I think the world of Dan, and absolutely should he not be opening every door and, you know, locking every gym and doing all of that. I'm not opposed to, quite honestly, saying we can't accept your request because we don't have staff to open it. I would rather see us say that and be honest than have someone who's either not getting paid or not valued for the work they're doing and or begging and pleading with their own employees to show up when they shouldn't be doing that. And that's probably not going to be a popular answer, but that's the truth. If we don't have anyone on staff that can or will do it, then the reservation cannot be taken. It's as simple as that. We don't have the staffing to do it. That may prompt a whole nother conversation in terms of what that staffing looks like or changing funding or costs down the road. But I think for now, we can't charge all of our community partners to maintain things that I feel like are our responsibility. We've got to work out the staffing issues. We've got to work that out. And if we can't, I don't think putting it on them is going to fix it, because all that's going to happen is you're going to have a large percentage of people that are no longer going to use our facilities, which is going to help in terms of the staffing issues that we have, but it's not going to help in terms of enriching our students and providing the education that we can't always provide between the hours of 8 and 2 p.m. So I'm absolutely in favor of covering our cost and making sure that we can provide the customer service to the folks that are using the facilities after hours that we should. I'm not in favor of asking them to carry the burden of our facilities challenges that don't directly relate to them.
Can I? Oh, and that, oh, geez, Louise, sorry. I think I'm going to respectfully disagree, sorry, on just a couple of points that you made. I feel like if we're actually going to try and cover our costs only, then we shouldn't be doing a tiered system anyway. Like, what's the difference whether you're for profit or not for profit? You're paying for the usage, right? What does it cost you to use it? So why would we charge somebody more for profit than we want it for nonprofit because of their designation, because they're not making money? If we're going to switch to a you're paying for it and what you use, then we wouldn't need a tiered system. I also find that if an outside group uses anything, right? If they use this room and they leave, they should leave it exactly the way they left it. If you use a field, yeah, there's going to be wear and tear, but you should be able to put it back in a state where if a kid uses on a Tuesday and they come use it on a Wednesday for PE, it should be almost exactly like it is on Tuesday, or it's able to maintain itself. And that's where I was talking about with some of these sports leagues and teams that use our fields. These fields at the end of the year are destroyed. Like, not like, oh, they're bad, they're destroyed. And it's because on a weekend, they're completely getting used, and come PE, now kids have dirt. And so I think if we can find a way to make sure, that's what I'm talking about. Like what was the damage done, or what was the wear and tear that you used? And that would be more fair, but it is difficult to determine. But I don't think there should be a separation if we're just trying to break even from a nonprofit to a profit. And then also you should return it as good as you found it.
Can I jump in just for a second? I just wanted to add, just because I think it's a useful data to your point, Ryan. As we've redone Palm Valley's fields in preparation for athletics to be happening there, that's going to cost the district approximately $130,000.
Getting that field ready, not just for our kids, but for other sports programs to use it, like Litchfield Elementary, like the Litchfield Park Little League Baseball program, right? They use those fields, and we are maintaining them to a status that is good enough for Litchfield Park Little League, not necessarily just our kids to have PE.
Or at least that's the
That's
expectation.
the expectation that they have on us, and we haven't. And so it's a partnership. And just like you mentioned with CCV, it's a partnership to determine, okay, if we're talking big picture, then yes, we need to have a separate plan and agreement. But it's the smaller things that I think that are more difficult, that are easier to deal with. When we're talking, oh, you need a classroom for an hour and a half, right? That's different than a baseball field for a large situation. So, I think that gets a little muddy there.
I have one other comment too, and it doesn't really have regards to that, just coming up in my head. The other thing that's really bothering me about all of this is going to impact our lower income kids. And what all of these for-profit or even nonprofit, just to pay their bills, are going to have to do is charge our families more. And our middle class and obviously our upper class families are just going to pay the increase because they're okay with it. But there's so many kids in our district that they're not going to be able to participate because now this program, instead of being free or $20 or $40, is now $100. Just isn't sitting well with me. And a lot of these programs give scholarships to any kid that can't afford it at all. And they're not going to be able to do that. They're not going to be able to just let these kids come and buy materials and do things when our fees are what they are. And I just really agree with what Danielle said, in that it is part of our mission. Like, there's so much research about the benefit of kids being in their schools, especially after school programs. And while the district does offer a lot of things, they don't cover everything. And I think that we need to just be so careful that we don't make people close their programs or leave the district completely, because it's just doing a disservice, especially to our lower income families.
So I'm very conflicted because I, one, understand the idea that we have people that complain to us about how our fields are not in the best shape. They are people that come in and want to use our fields at times. And we're doing the best we can with the money we have, and we choose to invest our money in our students and in our classrooms for the most part, right? And so we have a certain amount of money that we get to work with, and making the fields be perfect is probably not going to be our number one top priority when it's the fields or some curriculum things for our kids, right? So I understand the idea of putting some of that cost on the people that are wanting to use our facilities. But I also know that we as a board talked about how important it was to have these extra opportunities for our students, because we know that there's only so many hours in the day that our teachers can teach the kids, and that they can get so many extra added things to their learning by participating in these extracurricular programs after school. We also know that we have teachers that are burned out and don't want to take on extra clubs and for any kind of project. And therefore, we are not going to be able to offer all of the clubs we want to offer at every campus without these smaller organizations coming in and offering these programs to our kids at a reasonable fee. I agree that our lower income students are the ones that are going to be hurt by this the most. I would like to see us potentially do the half fees for the year next year and talk about increasing them for next school year, because I feel like this was a very large jump right off the bat for some of these fees to go from 0 to 40, or like we went from 60 to 100 for our fees. I'd rather not see us do that huge jump all at one time. I'd rather see us do that in steps. It gives our smaller groups a very long amount of time to be able to figure out the nonprofit situation, if that's what they'd like to do, to be able to pay that lower fee. And for our sports places and things that are making a lot of money off of our kids, then they're going to be okay, or they're not. But we're going to have better facilities for them later when we're able to charge more. So I just don't want to see us do this huge jump all at one time. I think it was too much all at once. I'm also a little frustrated that we didn't notify our partners prior to us making the decision. And that's my fault as a board member for not asking, did we notify them before this came to us? So I'm disappointed in us that we didn't notify them. And that's why they're all coming to us now, because they found out after the fact that it had happened. So that's kind of my take on it. But I would like to remind everyone that you can volunteer and use that volunteer time in lieu of the fees. And that's a win-win for everyone. That's a win for our schools to get more volunteers in. That's a win for organizations that don't make that much to be able to use that to cover the fees for the facility rentals.
President Zeidman, if you don't mind, thank you, board members, for the conversation tonight. And please note, you heard it through Mr. Vaughn, but our intent really is to really do two things. For certain, without a doubt, our schools do play a pivotal role in each respective community. They are central. We want our schools, our buildings, our facilities to be used by our people for our kids. That's a given. But secondly, like Mr. Vaughn stated, our goal is to provide the best experiences possible. And some of you have been involved in those conversations where we do get feedback from staff and external partners on, geez, thank you, but really here, let me tell you about everything else that needs to be fixed in order for it to be the best possible service for your community. So our goal tonight was to bring the board additional conversation around how to try to meet somewhere in the middle. So President Zeidman, I appreciate you speaking about ways our partners, our vendors could contribute to the volunteerism piece in their campuses. You know, looking at some of the websites of those that even spoke tonight, not all are serving under represented population. So please note that too. That's not all the students that are being served. We're servicing a variety of students throughout our Litchfield community, but we want to do what's right. I certainly appreciate the alternative that you might have suggested, President Zeidman, and we'll stand for a possible vote or an opportunity to come back with other items or other costs associated with our rentals. But we really want to just do what's best and make this a competitive environment as well across not just Litchfield, but the districts that we're competing with. So thank you.
But to clarify, we've already approved the higher fees. So if we do not want to have them be higher, we have to vote on something tonight to make them not be higher.
Can I ask a question just as a follow-up? I think that Ryan made a really fair point about the fields, especially, and classrooms or gyms to that matter, to that effect is, you know, if you can't leave it in the shape in which you found it, then there is, you know, some sort of fee associated with that. I don't have any issue with that. But I guess my question is, when I look at this, it doesn't appear as if was taken into account when you look at these numbers. And the only reason I say that is because, you know, a field is $40 an hour. The gym is $65 an hour. Is it really more expensive to maintain the gym, or is there more wear and tear on a gym than a field? So I guess that's why I'm just asking. It's like, you know, the gym and the classroom and the field are the same price. So I guess in my mind, it seems like there would be the same amount of wear and tear there, just logically. Or is it that we decided the majority of people want to use the cafeteria and the gym? I mean, that's where the majority of larger meetings are held and things like that. So we're going to, because they're bigger spaces and more people can fit there, then we would make that cost commensurate with the number of people. I'm just trying to figure out how the costs were determined. If it's not an actual cost basis, you know, in terms of covering our cost, what went into deciding the different tiers in terms of, use cases here between classroom and cafeteria and things like that?
It was just being fully transparent, it was an inexact science. So for the fields, like I stated, we were trying to look at what we would need to charge to bring on a second grounds crew to address those comments we were getting. So that's where the field costs came from. The classroom costs looked at what it would cost to add a couple of facility members to the team focused on opening and closing the facilities. So that's where the classroom rate came from. Depending on if you're looking at hiring someone to work overtime versus if you're hiring someone that's not working overtime, actually the $20 and $40 is, one of them is closer to the overtime rate and one of them is closer to what we would be paying if we're not paying overtime. Then I had some brief conversations. Once the classroom amount was set, I had brief conversations with our facilities and construction team around just the general cost of maintaining certain spaces to make sure that an increased cost for the media center, cafeteria, and gym made sense. Some of those conversations stemmed around the maintenance of a nice gym floor, for example. That's obviously more costly than maintaining a classroom. Media center is larger than a classroom, and so you're spending more to air condition that space and more to maintain it and clean it. Cafeteria, same sort of thing. You've got a little bit nicer flooring, not as nice as the gym. It's a larger space to air conditioning and maintain. So the specific dollar amounts were not scientifically determined. Basically, the classroom and fields were based on something more specific, and then there was discussion around, does it make sense for these types of spaces to cost a little bit more?
Yeah, but it does sound you're taking into consideration the staffing and utility and costs for each one of these.
Yes.
Opening and closing procedures, you know, that extra staffing person that would have to be there. Okay.
Sorry.
No,
Since
go
he's
ahead.
here, can we ask you, Dan, how often are you opening and letting people in and
You're like, speaking of a government public entity using our space and staying until it's closing, right?
On that. President Zinema, Mr. Owens. The question was, how often do we? So I don't always come out. We have custodial supervisors that get calls regularly. We started to try to keep a log of it, but it's so confusing. It's on the weekends, things like that. Just to give you an example, today I received a call from a group that wasn't getting let in here at Western Sky. Probably took about 20 minutes of my time during the workday in order to call, figure out why it wasn't open. Are they supposed to be there on that time? Things like that. I would say our custodial supervisors spend probably a good couple hours on a weekend between a Saturday and a Sunday, just fielding phone calls, fielding groups, things like that. I would say during the week, the hardest part during a regular school day in the evenings is you're pulling your custodians away from a routine in order to come open and to close and to deal with any issues that may arise during that time. So instead of cleaning a classroom, they're opening up for a gym and they only have, 8 hours of cleaning to do. So they are pulled away from their regular tasks on an evening in order to come open up and close for a group and also to check on that group to make sure they don't have any issues, things like that. Sometimes they have to come in and clean the bathroom before they get there. Then they got to come back and clean it after the fact. Not something that you would expect a group to come in and clean the bathroom after they've used it. Not that they shouldn't leave a space how they found it, but it's just one of those logistics things. I would say it's between, and myself, I've been pulling myself away from that because I am now director of construction. The director of facilities and the assistant director of facilities are now fielding a lot of that. But I do still receive those calls because they have my number and they know that I tend to answer and I tend to show up to be able to open up for them. But I would say they're spending several hours on each weekend and probably 3 or 4 times during the week.
Yeah, I think
hope
you're
that
right in
answers
that,
that.
like, we're not going to expect a group to clean the bathroom necessarily, but
No, and I
no,
know.
but if you're going to leave it how you found it, then that means paying somebody to help leave it how you found it, right? And so those are all things that get taken into consideration. You made another point that I kind of spaced on, but I think that's the big thing in all of this is, how do we not spend a single dime of our money while maintaining the resources that we have for our students and our community? And if it's, kind of a scaled fee or something like that based on their, environmental impact to our school, then that's something that might be considered, right? How many programs or how many groups do we know will this impact? Like how many programs? I'm sure it's a lot.
It's a lot. I don't have that exact number. Yeah,
It's a lot, right? Whether it be the youth sports leagues on the weekend or in the afternoons, the small groups that meet in the classrooms. So, cool. Yeah, thanks for that.
Okay, so again, I'd like to see us do this grace period basically for this year. So rather than have it be till the 30th of September or Ms. Moran had talked about the 1st of January, I'd rather see us do it for the year.
So President Zeidema, you're saying that you would support adopting this schedule with the exception of all youth activities, nonprofit, governmental, and for-profit be at the proposed nonprofit rate. For example, classroom $20 per hour for the entire 24-25 year.
Yes, but with the caveat that I have one question, the $100 fee. Is that something that we allow for volunteer time to go against that $100 fee?
The way it's currently written, it would be allowed. What makes how that's written actually challenging, right, is I have to pay somebody to come in and do that. And so if we're not bringing in any money, I'm going to have to pull that money from somewhere, if that makes sense.
Fully understand. Really, I just want to ask if that is applied to our PTAs and PTOs when they do events on campuses. That's actually my actual concern.
No, they would be considered district business and be free.
Okay. Then yes, I would be fine with basically it being the way it is, with the exception of the making it for the year for fees. But I'm open to what other people think.
I think that's a good approach to take. I think that gives our organizations plenty of time to figure out what they're going to do. A lot of them have already advertised their pricing. I know 2 groups that reached out to me specifically have already collected fees going into the fall semester based on what they thought their rates were. So I think that gives everyone time to evaluate what they're going to do and whether it's become a community partner or become a nonprofit. It gives everyone plenty of time and gives everyone a scaled approach to getting to the fee we ultimately would like to see.
Based on that recommendation, if we approved that, would that cost the district money and would it have a negative impact to our facilities?
It's a hard question to answer because it depends on what you mean by will it cost the district money.
Will we use our financial resources to make up for or allow another group, whether it be nonprofit, private, however you want to determine it, use our facilities and us use our resources, whether they be man hours, work hours or financial dollars.
Yeah, I don't think I'll be able to add the staff we would need to stop what Dan shared, right? Like the maintenance staff will still be pulled away to do additional cleaning when user groups are closing. We'll still have those issues. Will it be better? Yes. But I don't think I'll be able to add all of that staff to fully remedy that problem. But potentially in the future, if we revisit the fee and continue. Because the other unknown, just to be frank, is how many user groups will fall out with the increase in rate, right? And so that can go a couple of different ways when it comes to district resources being used. If a user group isn't using our facilities, then they're not having an impact on it and not causing that use. But it also doesn't support adding staff, although obviously in that case, potentially there's not as much of a need. So it's hard to estimate fully what the revenue impact will be, and then thus what I can actually do with it. But
Thank you.
Just to clarify, but regardless of that, if we were to adopt the all youth activities at the lesser nonprofit rate, that would at least be a step in the right direction to covering some of those costs and give us more time to allow our organizations to determine what they need to do, knowing that we will have another conversation in 10 months about where are we, what are we looking at, and potentially raise those rates again in the
yes,
future.
yes.
Okay.
And to be fair, I'll also give them notice that this is a fee schedule that Litchfield will be looking at, whereas in the past, we've had our same fee schedule for, I can't even tell you how many years.
That's the other thing that I think is unfair from the organization's standpoint, is that it's not realistic to expect that our fees will never increase. I'm pretty sure their fees have increased over time and we have not increased ours. So it's not a fair expectation. So I would ask them to reconsider their thoughts on that.
My feedback from the community hasn't been that it's unfair that we're raising our fees. It's that it was just such a large jump all at once because we hadn't done it in the past because they weren't used to it. It was an abrupt change. They literally found out like the day before they could start signing up for next year. So I think that is the biggest feedback I got. Most people, I think, will be okay with us if we step into this. It just gives them time to really be able to look into becoming a nonprofit if that's the better option for them. Or do they want to become a community partner with us and do the 30%? What is the best thing for them to do?
Yeah, I agree. It's all about the expectation. And if they weren't expecting a change and we dropped this change on them, then yeah, they're not going to be happy about that. But I'm just glad that we're having this conversation, that under the current leadership, we are willing to say, hey, we didn't do this great. We're going to do it different next time. And have a conversation to get to a place of agreement on what makes sense. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Ms. Moran and President Zanima, before a vote, I just would also add, as we do make changes over time and better the product that we provide, I'm just a big fan of that idea of success breeds success. And I can guarantee if we provide a better product as it relates to our field space, as it relates to our gyms and what have you, more people will want to use our facilities. So we just need to be mindful of that. Having lived in the club soccer environment for many, many years, you want to go to places where the fields are good. So you're willing to invest those resources. And so I think we just need to recognize as we get better, more people will want to join us.
I think that's really accurate. I just think that we're lumping everybody into that, right? Like into the fields and the gym and the sports, and not everybody that uses our facilities is that. Some of them are small groups with 10 to 15 kids. So I just want to make sure that we're not lumping everyone in the same category because they're not. That's why I kind of like how we have it spread out and we're taking different areas into consideration and different types of groups. So Does anybody else have any questions or comments?
I think my last comment is just, I mean, I can get on board with kind of meeting halfway and, sort of going in the middle, but I don't want this to sound contradictory to what I just said, but I do firmly believe that we have to maintain our space. And, CFO Vaughn, if you come back to us in 6 months and say, hey, you know what? $20 is not cutting it. Like, we can't make it work on this. It has to be $30 or it has to be $40 or whatever. Then that's what we have to do. I don't want to make it seem like we can never increase our price because to the conversation here, we haven't done it for years. And so we're just now sort of catching up to where we probably should have done slowly over the last 5 years. I want to keep it affordable and I want it to cover our costs. I think those are my main goals, right? I want to keep people engaged with this district and give them an opportunity to provide opportunities for our students. With that said, we have to be able to maintain our facilities for our own students during the day and our own teachers. And, I've heard many a tale of teachers coming back to their classrooms and they're not being in the same situation as where they left them. That's something that we also have to, and maybe with the additional staffing over time that we're able to add, we will be able to control that a little bit better and monitor, I shouldn't say control, monitor it a little bit better and do something about it and really hold groups accountable, whether it's for a field or a classroom or whatever, that aren't abiding by the contract that they signed. I'd love to see that, come to fruition as well, because for the groups that are engaging and are doing right by the kids and have been our partners for years, they shouldn't be responsible for other folks that aren't acting responsibly. But we don't have the staff to monitor that right now, but hopefully in the future that we will. So I can support the year, the halfway this year, and then fully expect that to, increase over the next 12 months.
Does anybody else have any questions or comments? Okay, I'm trying to think about how to make this motion. Go ahead.
I move to approve the proposed fees with the following exception: that for-profit youth activities be consolidated into the nonprofit or governmental youth activities fee schedule, and the separate for-profit youth activities line be eliminated. Does that sound right, CFO Vaughn? Yes.
I mean, that would work, but can I make a recommendation?
Yes.
If our goal is to eventually have that distinction, what I would prefer is to maintain the for-profit line, but make it the same as the nonprofit for this year.
Okay, let me scratch that motion and do another one. Okay. I move that we approve the proposed fee schedule as presented, with the exception of the for-profit youth activities be at the same rate as the nonprofit or governmental youth activities.
I second. Okay, having a motion from Ms. Moran and a second from myself, I will call for the vote. I lost how I was doing that before. Ms. Clymer?
Yay.
Ms. Wallace?
Yay.
Ms. Moran?
Yay.
Mr. Owens?
Nay.
I am a yay. Motion passes. Okay, we are going to move on to the student handbook discussion, which will be led by Executive Director Benjamin.
Did I do it? There we go. Good evening, Madam President, members of the Governing Board. I am bringing back the revised student handbook and matrix. This evening, the presentation is going to be reviewing the student handbook. We've made some adjustments and changes, and also the discipline matrix is in there, which we have already presented on, and this will be for a request for the board to approve. It does match the strategic plan alignment of academic success, people, finances, resources, and service. The why and how. As shared during our May 2024 board meeting, we used a variety of committee work to create age-appropriate consequences with more concise consequences for each grade level, K2, 3, 5, and 6, 8 grade level bands. This will meet the developmental readiness for our students when it comes to discipline and consequences, and also meets the legal requirements around the K-2 discipline, which is a part of the Arizona state law. This revised matrix has been included in the 2024 handbook, which we have also revised, making it easier for families and community members to find lots of items. It's also helping with the branding as well. The additional revisions are the formatting, ease of use for families and students, and policies that were included on our old student handbook will now be available on our website. Sam and Yardley have been working hard to get that page up and running, and I think it's going to look quite beautiful. So some of the summary revisions will be table of contents with hyperlinks to navigate to each page. We'll have policies that were currently in the student handbook from the 23-24 school year and for many, many years before will actually be available on the website underneath for families to find quickly and easily. It will have description of classroom addressed behaviors. We really focused with administration on what is classroom managed versus office managed behaviors and made that clear so that families and teachers understand what those are. We also had Title IX information added, which was not in our student handbook prior. Roles and responsibilities for family, staff, and students, as well as academic and social behavior descriptions. We added exclusionary consequence descriptions that could be having a student go to a buddy room all the way to in-school suspension or out-of-school suspension. So we talked through what each of those looks like for students, just trying to be clear because we know clear is kind. We've added a supportive measures description. The state requirements for K-2 offered a lot of supportive measures as a part of the discipline policy. So we felt like that was important for lots of different grade levels. So that is added in there so that families will know what that should look like or sound like and understand what that means. We also revised the progressive discipline steps. We added reconnection plans. So if a student is out for a number of days from out of school suspension, we'd actually piloted it this year for middle school, that those students had a reconnection plan that they met with an advisor, an assistant principal, or principal before returning, and having clear expectations of what that looks like moving forward, but also making sure that they understand that they are welcome and loved coming back, and that that consequence, although it was there and they had to serve it, they're always welcome here, and this is their school family. We've also added the K-2 discipline with the new law and revised the discipline matrix. So on your website, you should have been able to have access to the new handbook so that you could see what that looked like. And then I also wanted to show you the example of what the website view will look like. Because we took those policies out of the student handbook, they will be underneath the handbook on the website under each of those links that will say exactly what it said in the student handbook, or link to policies that families will often need or want to have utilization for if they're looking for something. Any questions or feedback for us?
Sorry, Ms. Wallace, did you have any questions?
I do not. I think it looks beautiful.
Thanks. Ms. Moran?
President Zaidama just said she wants her photo to be larger in the handbook. No, did not.
Definitely not.
No, I think the revised look and feel is fantastic. A huge improvement over what we had. I agree with you, clear as kind. That's exactly what I thought when I was reading through it. My only question is, I know as a parent, there is a time, usually when I get the first report card, that I am asked to consent that I have read this handbook. I don't really have to read it. I can just sign that I've read it. What can we do to help our parents, especially with all of the new, easier to understand discipline information? What can we do realistically to try to get our parents to read this and understand it?
That's a great question and something we have been talking about. So one of the things that we had thought about trying to do is a video to explain this to families, having that out and available for curriculum nights and things like that so that they can understand what the changes are and the updates. I agree with you. And looking at the old handbook, it started with a very long policy that took 2 pages. And I can guarantee you, as soon as you saw that, you shut it and you just said you did it. So we're hoping that pictures as well. There's students in there, there's families in there. that they will also continue to look through that. And there's your pictures, which is great. So yes, we are looking, and if you have ideas, we would also love additional ideas.
Okay, okay. The second piece of that obviously is making sure that the students know what's in the handbook, especially when it comes to the consequences for what their actions might be. Will we have some sort of launch? Do we currently do that with students where we like in the middle school? I'm assuming we talk about it like in homeroom or something, but tell me more about that process.
Yeah, so in elementary and middle schools, it is very common for the teacher in the first couple of days of school to kind of go through this, to review their classroom procedures and expectations, and then this fits right in there. It also will be clear as kind for classroom discipline versus office managed. And so that will tie in very nicely. So we will roll this out with our principals, and then we'll ask them to roll this out with their staff with a plan to be able to age appropriately roll it out in their classrooms.
Okay, and are we doing any sort of like graphic, like posters or anything that are going to go in the classrooms with kind of some basic info?
We hadn't talked about that, so it's something I can bring back to admin cabinet and we can discuss. That hadn't been something on our radar.
Okay, I just think this is a great opportunity to increase the knowledge level about what discipline looks like. Like you said, knowing that, yeah, maybe you did something and there's a consequence to your action, but you're always welcome here. And, you know, you are not your action, you are valued for being who you are. So I don't know, I feel like there's lots of opportunities for us to create a better culture around this with this launch. So I appreciate all the hard work. And like I said, I think it looks fantastic. Big improvement.
Ms. Wallace looks like she has something to say, so I'm gonna have her go next.
I was just saying, I don't know, technology wise, you asked about having parents read, like when anything that I sign, like I took my kids to somewhere, I had to sign a waiver yesterday. Like, even though I didn't read a word of it, you had to scan all the way to the bottom to hit that you read it all. And while that doesn't make anyone read it, it does make you at least see every page. Like I don't know if we have the technology to do that, but instead of having them sign a physical paper, if they have to actually scroll to the end of the student handbook to check the box, they would at least physically see every page.
We've got some brilliant brains that I think could maybe figure that out for us.
Mr. Owens, did you have any comments or questions?
No, it looks great. Thanks.
Ms. Clymer?
No questions. I think it looks great. I mean, I think that, again, all we can do is communicate out the information to parents, give them the opportunity with the first report card. You know, we have electronic means, we have Parent Square. I mean, we have a lot of different ways that we can communicate out a PDF link of this. We just have to have the expectation that when they need it, they know where to find it. And they may not read it the first day of school, or they may not read it, you know, during, you know, parent-teacher conference or whatever we give it to them, but they know where to find it. It's easily accessible on the website. It's beautiful. It's easy to read. They can easily search through this. And I think we're doing the best that we can do to give them the information. I do think though, as we kind of go through this process where the discipline matrix has been updated, that's certainly something we should be calling out. I mean, especially parents that have been in this district for a while.
Yeah.
They already know, right, what's in the student handbooks. They're like, I don't need to read it again. This is a significant change. And so I do think that for the seasoned parents, they may not think to read every page because they've done that over the years. This is something significant. So we should certainly, you know, communicate that as such so they know to go back and look at it. And I'm sure teachers will be doing the same in the classroom.
Awesome. Thank you.
I'm a big person to over communicate. 7 touches, Ms. Moran will tell you. So I think that we should be sharing this out all over the place all the time and making it very easy that parents don't have to take a long time to figure out where to find it. If teachers put it in the bottom of their emails and their signatures, and everything that comes out from the district, posting it on our social media places, like I think that we need to over communicate this so that everybody sees where it is. Otherwise, I think you guys did a fantastic job. It looks amazing. You could take my picture out. That would be fine. But otherwise, it looks great. Thank you guys for the hard work that you put into it.
And a big shout out to Sam and Yardley who helped to get this laid out for us. So it was easy to use and easy to manipulate and add information. So thank you.
If there's no other questions or comments, someone can make a motion.
I move to approve the student handbook and discipline matrix for the 24-25 school year as presented.
A second.
Having a motion from Ms. Clymer and a second from Ms. Wallace, I'll call for the vote. Ms. Wallace,
Yay.
Ms. Moran,
Yay.
Mr. Owens,
Yay.
Ms. Clymer.
Yay.
I'm also yay, motion passes. I'm really trying to rotate because that's what you said, to not call on the same person first, but it gets hard to remember who I called on first last time. Okay, we are going to move on to the literacy campaign graphics on LESD school buses. This is going to be by Executive Director Nuanes.
Check. Yes. Okay, yeah, I just want to just real quick give kudos to Yardley Zamorano, our communication general. She did really the bulk of the work on the layout on that, and she's amazing. So thank her for that. Moving on to the literacy program, Madam President, governing board members, as you know, one of our missions here is to engage with our partners and get the support that we can as much as we can. One of our great partnerships that we do have is with the Rotary of Goodyear Pebble Creek. Their members there have approached us. They have a deep desire to really start a literacy program for our youngs, our 0 to months to 5, and they say 0. It's like they don't exist, right? So as we had these discussions, we were finding out, see, how could we make this happen? The data that they brought to us showed that, that we needed to engage this. And this is also a great opportunity for us, as we know that a lot of educational success comes from getting our parent engagement, because it takes the village, right? To get our kids to have that exceptional educational experience. So the goal of this program is to start our parents to reading to their kids, to help engage with them. Some of when we went through the process of this, we were looking at where could we do this? Where would get the most benefit for this? So we're looking at our areas at Dreaming Summit, Corte, Barbara Roby schools. We incorporated and got input from our EL director, Ms. Jennifer Larson, which has incredible insight on which of our neighborhoods and our schools would really benefit from this program. So as we move forward with that, to get our reading 20 minutes a day to your children, that would really help that literacy as we came in to that program. Now, what we're asking here now tonight is to be able to advertise it. It's, they say with PR and marketing, location, location, location. If we have a great product and we don't know that it exists, as how beneficial will it be? So we would like to put our advertisements on the buses, so as they navigate the routes through our neighborhoods that will be most beneficial for this program. That's what we're looking at. So you will see a couple of graphics. We have the English one, which is read 20 minutes a day to your child, is showing the mother and the child, and they're having a great time. We want to show that, how it really benefits these kids. And I know growing up, I wish I had my parents read to me, but it was kind of the other way around. Being a first generation American, I got to read to them. I increased my reading skills. They learned some English, and it was a win-win situation. So this is, I think, could also help in that kind of area as well. We also were going to do it in a bilingual. As you'll see the second graphic, lea 20 minutos al día a su hijo. Same interpretation, and you have the family reading there. So we just want to make sure that we have as much exposure as we can. We will also be launching a campaign. Once we get that, we'll be hitting all of our social media. We'll be doing the news stories on our on our website. And also, once it gets up and rolling, I will be looking for some families that are really getting engaged and incorporating video as well into that so that we can see exactly how it is really positively affecting our community. Prepared to take any questions that you have.
Yep, go ahead. No.
President Zeitem, just to add some additional insight. This is a partnership, as Sam said, with the Pebble Creek Rotary, but also with our Freya Unified or High School District, excuse me, as well as Avondale Elementary. Both Dr. Hargrove and Mr. Eastlis are working to also promote early childhood literacy across their respective communities. And I just wanted to add the 3 sites that were selected were based on needs, as Sam mentioned, but early literacy is important to all of our communities. And so please note that even though these buses may have a more time spent in certain communities, they will be traveling across our entire Litchfield community. And as Sam talks about that communication out, we believe early literacy is key to every community, not just those 3 that you see tonight. So thank you.
Mr. Owens volunteered to go first for question.
Yeah, no, can you have the mic back to Dr. Davidson real quick? Just had a question. The Rotary Club of Goodyear and Pebble Creek, they had a golf tournament, right?
Yes, sir.
That's the one we won?
Yes, sir, it is.
That's right. All right. Just wanted to clarify that. I do have a question though about the buses and the rationale behind doing, so it sounds like 50 total buses. 30. So 30 will have, so what the whole Spanish only on a bus? Like I could see there won't be none that are all Spanish. Okay. That's all.
Ms. Clymer.
I don't have any concerns at all. I think it's an amazing program. It shows, I mean, clearly we know what the research shows about early childhood literacy, so no questions there. I also love showing our community our partnerships and that we value. I mean, I think the Rotary Club has been really good to us over the years and we've tried to build up that partnership. So, continuing to solidify that and show the community that we're, reaching out and trying to partner, I think is great. So I'm excited to see it.
Ms. Wallace.
I agree. I like the campaign and I think they look fantastic and they'll be beautiful on our buses.
Ms. Moran.
I agree. I think this is a great program. My questions are, first, is there an end date for this campaign?
Currently, we have not discussed an end date. We're kind of going to play it by ear, as they say, see if it potentially could expand. So we're just starting off with these 3 schools. We'll create a baseline and we'll see how much cooperation, how much engagement that we get. Because part of also, just to make note of this is that Agua Fria, their high school where they do their technical things, they were going to be the ones building these lending libraries. And Pebble Creek Rotary is going to be providing the cement, all of everything that we need to mount them into the ground, plus all the books. So they're providing tremendous support for this program. But as of right now, we do not have a specific end date for that.
Okay. And the reason I asked that question is because when we say we're approving this, are we only approving this campaign or are we then also opening the door for other campaigns on our buses? Specifically, self-promotion, as in we're hiring, scan this QR code to see what jobs we have available. That would be a fantastic way to advertise in our neighborhood, something that we would also benefit from. I think this program is fantastic. I just don't I don't know that we want or should stop here potentially if we're going to open that door to space on buses.
Governing Board Moran, thank you for bringing that up because that is definitely been a conversation that we've had and we're looking toward it. If you look at some of our buses, there are really some, we're hiring signs that probably need to be scraped off and reapplied. But those are, I mean, we do have all that free billboard space that we absolutely should utilize. So we will have those further discussions on what are the programs and how can we best utilize that as as an advertising platform for us.
Okay, great. Thank you.
I do not have any questions. I think this is great. I hope that somewhere in this campaign, we get a video of Dr. Davidson reading kid stories, because I think that would be super awesome.
In Spanish.
Yeah, in Spanish sounds great. Yeah, I think this is a great program. Thank you for the work you put in. I'm glad that we are working with our community partner on this. It is a very important thing to work on getting our kids reading, and the best way to do that is to read to your kids every day. We know that kids are going to do better in school if that's happening at home. So I think this is a great way to engage our families and work with our community partners. So thank you. Does someone want to make a motion?
I move to approve literacy promotional graphics on school buses as supported by Rotary of Goodyear Public Creek and as indicated below.
I second.
Having a motion for Mr. Owens and a second from Ms. Wallace, I'll call for the vote. Mr. Owens,
Yay.
Ms. Clymer,
Yay.
Ms. Wallace,
Yay.
Ms. Moran.
Yay.
I'm also a yay. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Okay, now we are going to move on to discussion items. This is going to be the first reading of Governing Board Policy Revision, GDCA. This will be presented by CFO Vaughn.
Check, check.
Apparently, I just need to be a little bit more aggressive. This policy revision is one you've seen before. We've actually previously brought it back. This is to reflect what the governing board has already approved in the projected budget, specifically giving some days of leave to extended day site leaders and bus monitors. When we went to implement what the governing board had already previously approved, we realized that we miscalculated the accrual rate, even though we had the total number of days correct to what had previously been approved. So this policy revision is to get that accrual rate correct. And we also noted that there were some positions listed in the policy that no longer exist. So just to tighten up the policy, we have struck those.
Okay, Ms. Clymer, did you have any questions?
No, I don't. Thank you.
Ms. Wallace,
No questions.
Ms. Moran,
No questions.
Mr. Owens?
No questions.
I have no questions. We will move on now to reports. We will start with Dr. Davidson.
President Zayama, hey, we got it to work. That's awesome. Thank you for the opportunity to share a few comments, and just wanted to start by highlighting the efforts of our board tonight, but also our team. I think of what happened tonight, more than one example of the idea of we just want to get better. We want to continuously improve and really evolve. So thank you for that work. And I'm excited about some of the things that have been going on this summer. We'll start with our human resources team and our leaders out there, trying to hire for our schools, hire for our departments, and making certain that we are prepared and ready for opening of schools. So I want to thank that team and all of our leaders out there. Had a chance, Ms. Benjamin and I had a chance today to say hello to some of our new hires, our new teachers, and then an onboarding session. And it was great that we have some excellent talent coming to our team. We've had a lot of trainings this summer, a lot of professional development on behalf of our academic services team, but also through the Arizona Administrators Association. We most recently had a team learn all about safety and buildings and field space and plants and you name it. They can tell you all about it at some point, but we are ready to really engage with our builders in School 17 to really take a look at how does the environment impact school safety. So that was great to hear about. And as you know, we last Friday celebrated our work in a board retreat, talking about our strategic plan, the idea of continuous improvement and really unlocking the Litchfield learner and what that means for our future. So excited to bring back some information to you in the near future. But again, thank you. It's been a busy time since school has ended. Whew, time is going fast. So thank you.
Thank you. We're going to move on to reports from governing board members. I will let Ms. Moran go first.
All right, well, our last meeting was a week or so before school let out. So there weren't a lot of school-related activities that I was able to go to, but the biggest and most important one that I was able to attend was the 8th grade promotion ceremonies for both the blue and gold teams at Western Sky Middle School. My son promoted up from Western Sky, so I am no longer a parent of a student in LESD, which is so strange and is only going to get more strange throughout the coming year. I will need to bend a board member Clymer's ear for some advice on that. But it was my privilege to shake the hands of our promoting students. What a wonderful and amazing group of young people. Congrats to all the students, parents, and families, and best wishes to all of our promoting 8th graders on their future endeavors in high school. I was able to attend a special meeting that we had, the planning meeting, which is what I'm calling the retreat, and then the superintendent's review that we had last week. All were very productive, professional, and collaborative. I appreciate hearing and discussing my fellow board members and the administrative cabinet's thoughts and their perspectives in a more casual setting. I think we had a lot of really great conversations, and I appreciate learning from your perspectives, and I'm grateful to everyone that participated that day. Lastly, I want to give a big shout out to all our LGBTQ plus students, staff, and community members as we wrap up Pride Month. I'm proud to support a district who celebrates and embraces all kinds of differences. To quote Mama Cass and her inspirational song, "Make Your Own Kind of Music," nobody can tell you there's only one song worth singing. They may try and sell you because it hangs them up to see someone like you, but you got to make your own kind of music, sing your own special song, make your own kind of music, even if nobody else sings along. Thanks.
Mr. Owens.
Yeah, I'm just going to hope everybody has a nice 4th of July and enjoys your summer. And it's the monsoon season, I think, starting to roll in right now. Just enjoy the rest of your summer before school starts.
Ms. Clymer.
Yes, I'm not loving the humidity that the monsoon season is bringing, but yeah, I'm all here for the celebration of summer. It has seemed a little while since we've had a regular meeting, so some of this information is from the end of school, but I want to bring it up especially because 2 of my favorite activities during the year happen at the end of the year. And I am slowly realizing that this was my last experience doing it as a board member. So this was very, a little sweeter this year than in past. First was our retirement celebration. It is such an honor to be in a room with people that have dedicated years and decades of their life to public education. It's not easy. I know that for sure. They are dedicated, they are professional, they are loving and nurturing people that have done all they can do to lift up our children, and our staff and our parents and our community, and will continue to do so even in retirement for the most part. So it was really an honor to be with them and to see just the pride on their families' faces that were there with them, and the staff members. So congratulations to everyone who is retiring. Maybe we'll say it again in August when they should be back at work, but they're finally enjoying much needed retirement. And my second favorite thing is 8th grade promotions. And as Ms. Moran mentioned, we typically, go to promotions and try to, separate as board members and hit as many promotions as we can. And knowing this is my last chance to shake the hands of all of our promoting 8th graders, I went a little extra and decided I was going to do 3 promotions this year, just so I could get to all the schools that I hadn't been to in my time as a board member. So first was L. Thomas Heck. Fantastic. They did a wonderful job. Students were great. I loved seeing the personal representation of students' clothing and outfit and, some of the decorative things they were wearing from their culture, their heritage. Like people are really putting a lot of thought into that. And I love seeing that, you know, for people at a young age. Also Belen Soto, it was wonderful to have a member of Belen Soto Moreno's family there. That was a very special time in naming that school and being part of that process on the board. So it's nice to see her family continuing to be engaged in those students' lives, which is really, really cool. And last but certainly not least, I'll take a little bit of extra time. I was invited to the White Tanks Learning Center 8th grade promotion. I may get emotional, and I don't know why I don't have a student at White Tanks and I haven't had one, but I will tell you that I was more impacted by that ceremony than I have in a long time in a lot of things I've done for this district. There were teachers, certified teachers, there were teaching assistants, the principal of the school, all standing up to celebrate. It just happened to be one 8th grader this year. And this young man was so like overwhelmed by the amount of love and support that was in that room for him. His parent and guardian was there, his other students, you know, the other students in the classroom stood up and supported him. And those adults in the room knew so much about that child, top to bottom, inside and out. And I just thought, I know it's impossible to have that kind of relationship at a much larger school, but I will tell you, I walked away from that thinking, I wish every student could have that experience here. It blew me away. So huge kudos to the staff at White Tanks, because they do it right completely. Just blew my mind. It was the first time I got to experience that. So thank you for the invitation. Their staff just goes above and beyond. And I was really, really impressed, from even the littles in the classroom that were sort of celebrating their own promotion, whether it was going back to their home school or continuing on in the school and going to a different classroom in the program. Everyone was celebrating, families were engaged, teachers were, you could tell, emotional in, you know, letting go of their students. It was just how it should have been. So thank you again. It was very, very impactful for me. Also wanted to say thank you to President Zeidema, Dr. Davidson, all of the cabinet members, everyone who put time and effort into our retreat. I will agree with everyone here that it's hard to carve out an entire day for us to be together and have a meeting and a retreat, but the ideas were flowing, a few jokes here and there too, to keep it light for the whole day. But a really good time for us to come together, collaborate, you know, plan for the strategic plan specifically, but also talk with Dr. Davidson about his first year on the job, what he's liked, and what some improvements that he plans to make over the coming year. So I'm super excited and really happy to have you on board and the cabinet that you've built. And I think it's made us a stronger board, and I appreciate you for that. And last but not least, just we've celebrated the last day of school, where, you know, I feel like summer is going to be over before we know it. And the first week of August, just feel like it's going to be here tomorrow. So looking forward to our next month, when we get to celebrate all of our new teachers that are coming to the district and all of that, you know, work that gets to be done, and welcoming new team members on board. So thank you.
Ms. Wallace.
I was just reflecting back too on the last time that we did a board report, but since then it was the end of the school year. I got to go to my first 8th grade promotion, and I was at Verado Heritage. It was a very exciting promotion because it was their first 8th grade class that had gone all the way through their school, and they did an amazing job. I thought it was beautifully done, and it was really special to be a part of that. I also attended the board retreat last 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago. Yeah. A week and a half ago. It was a Friday. And it was a great time to share and be a little more casual with each other. And I really appreciated the professionalism, and I'm very excited about the direction that the district is headed. So that's all I have.
Okay. So yes, since the last time we had a regular meeting there, it was a long time, but yet it doesn't feel like there's a whole lot of things on here, but some fun, exciting things. I was able to attend, Barbara Roby had, their principal Acosta was selected as exemplary principal of the Year by the Maricopa County Superintendent, Steve Watson, and she was presented with her award. She was surprised, maybe not really surprised, at her school. And we were able to be there, and that was really fun to be there because it was just so amazing to hear all the things that her staff and her students had to say about her, and her family was there, and it was emotional just seeing how much they love her and how much she loves her school. And that, as I was a parent there a long time ago, my oldest son went there kinder for fourth grade, and seeing how much that campus has changed and what an amazing place it is today versus then, it's just night and day difference. And that really has to do with the leadership that is there now with Principal Acosta. She is an amazing leader that school is very blessed to have. So I was really excited to be able to be attending that and be able to support her that day. One of the little things I got to go to, because end of the year is like fun celebration stuff, was Rancho did a celebration parade. And we talk about recognizing all our kids. Rancho celebration parade, they had all the kids come out and they had signs that said, I completed this goal, and they all picked their goals. It was like, I learned how to play nice at the playground, or I learned how to read, or I learned how to do 2-digit math. And all the kids had their own goals, and we just celebrated every kid that walked through. It was also a beautiful thing for one of their students there that is suffering from cancer. And so they were able to honor this student as well. And so it was just also another emotional time for the kids. And to be there for that, and that family being there and being able to see their student and celebrate their student during this hard time. I also was able to attend 8th grade promotion. I went to Verrado Heritage and Wigwam Creek. Verrado Heritage, it was beautiful, and it was very, I will say, extra, because that is who Principal Noche is. So, but it was very beautiful. The kids had beautiful speeches. Everybody was crying. They had a beautiful slideshow. I'm very appreciative that I got to go. I went to their very first 8th grade promotion because my son promoted from there in 8th grade the year that they opened. And so it was nice to be able to go back and see all of the growth that they've had with Leader and Me and everything there. Then I was able to go to Wigwam Creek, which I've gone to every year since I've been on the board. It's near and dear to my heart. My kids do go there. I didn't have any promoting 8th graders this year, but I do like going there and being with those families because they're just a special school too. And they're having their principal leave. It's going to be a new principal. So it was nice to be there for Jenny's last 8th grade promotion at that campus. Lastly, we had the retirement celebration. Kudos to this district and to Executive Director Nuanez putting that together. It was a beautiful way to honor our retirees. We had food for them. They were all able to come up and get pictures, and they got special little awards, and we really had nice things to say about each of them. And I appreciated the way we did it this year, and I'm glad that we did it that way. I'm excited to see us continuing in honoring our retirees because they do put so much time into our district. There were people that were retiring that I remember being there when my oldest son, who's 22 now, was in kindergarten. So it was just really cool to see that these people have been there this whole time, loving on our kids. The governing board retreat was the very last thing that we did, as well as Dr. Davidson's end of year review. I am so appreciative. I just want to thank this whole board and the admin team. It's really nice to be in a place where we can all come together and collaborate and feel like we can be productive and not be worried. So thank you to your team for answering all our questions and just being so open and our ideas and sharing what you guys are thinking, so that if we don't understand something, you are totally fine with that and explaining it to us over and over again until we do. And thank you to everyone on this board for participating and for helping us to have a very productive meeting. I'm looking forward to our next one in August. With that, I would just like to thank you all for all the work you're doing and putting in, because we wouldn't be making the progress we were if it wasn't for everybody that's here.
You're welcome.
And thank you, Ryan, for always providing the jokes. Sir Ryan. With that, thank you to the administrators who turned in some reports. There's not a whole, there's not a whole lot happening right now, which is fine. You all enjoy your time off. Get ready to come back and hit the ground running, because it's going to be here before you know it. I can't believe we're literally like halfway done with summer. And the fact that we lost 2 days of summer this year actually makes it feel like it's I don't know, makes the summer feel way shorter, even though it's only 2 days. So I don't know.
Those 2 days are rough.
It is. It's really rough. So yeah. So well, that's right. It is like 4 include the weekend. So she's right. It's like almost a whole week. So anyways.
Positivity, people, positivity. It's like, it's fun.
Anyways,
I'm a huge fan of going back for 2 days though.
Yeah.
Huge.
yeah, I
And you
it'll
get,
be good.
you can have a whole week of curriculum starting fresh, so.
So anyways, with that, thank you to the people that did turn in reports, and we are going to be excited probably August again when we finally have everybody's reports. With that,
I move to adjourn the meeting.
I will say, having a motion from Sir Ryan and a second, I think that was from Lady Danielle over there. I'll call for the vote. Ms. Clymer.
Yay.
Ms. Wallace.
Yay.
Ms. Moran.
Yay.
Mr. Owens.
Yay.
I'm also a yay.